The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter in each episode, but we do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence. You are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt.
Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 82.
Yay! And we're still here. Woo!
Sorry, you're getting the unhinged version of me today.
Oh no, and it's just the beginning.
I'm far too tired. I didn't sleep enough, and I told you off camera. This thing is particularly strong. This drink of mine today. Cool. So you're your host who can speak. Apparently, your unhinged host of the day are Kris and.
Savannah, who is actually not unhinged today. She's just drinking water out of her brand new Rate the Record podcast mug.
RateTheRecord.ca merch. I'll tell you that in a second anyways. It's all good. But you know what? I'm lumping you into the unhinged thing because it's a grouping at this point. We have to do this together.
An hour along, and it's like, well, there it is. There she goes, off the rails.
Yeah, finally, she's nutso just like me. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Thank you for choosing to hang out with us and listen to music and being part of the community like we always want you to be. So we truly appreciate it. And we also appreciate when you show us that you really like the things that we do in one of several ways, either one thing, a group of things, or all the things. Like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, follow. All of those things help build us up in the algorithm, gets more eyes and ears on the prize, find more friends just like you. That's what we're always looking for. So please do those things because we're growing. We are a flower. I neglected the word beautiful because I refused to use it. We are a flower, maybe even a weed, but we look nice though for a weed. I'll say that much.
I don't know where you're going, so I'm not sure where to go with you. So yeah, weed.
Your improv skills need to be improved. That's why I'm just testing you at this point.
If we were doing improv, I would just sit here and go, yes, and then yes, and then,
you're
and then just let you take it away.
Partner in history.
Yeah, I would just let you take it away. So.
Hey, I was really good at improv in my teens, and I took some classes in my 20s, but I haven't done it in like a decade, so it's been a while.
And then?
No, and then. Ha, that's a Dude, Where's My Car joke. God, fuck that movie. Anyways, we're talking about a podcast today. We're talking about an album today because that's what we're doing, and if you by any chance do like the types of things that you see in here today, besides me losing my absolute mind, then make sure that you're following us over on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we are now on that new Threads one. That one specifically because like it's attached to Instagram, and I think Instagram's like our most used platform. Yes. It's just the most fun to use for us. So it just made the most sense to do that one. So if you're on that new Threads, if you're one of those new 100 million people on Threads, make sure you're following us over there too, because we're going to treat it like Twitter, but also like Instagram. It's going to be fucking stupid and fun, and it's going to be great. Join it. Why not? I'm great at advertising things.
You'll probably see me, my personal account, following the Rate the Record account, and feel free to follow me at Savannah is Missing. I think it's the first time I've ever plugged myself.
I was just about to say, you've never done that. Like, even down in the description, it's usually just like, here's all the things Kris is doing. Because you in the beginning, you just said, no, don't worry about it. So I've never added it since.
I figure I've already interacted with us as me on Instagram and on Threads. So I figure I'd throw that out there.
That
so
is
no one's
indeed
looking at
the
it going,
real Savannah.
It is. Savannah is Missing.
Oh, you're going to be the @real Savannah at some point.
God, Savannah official.
But yeah, those social media things and a bunch of other things too, including merch, as she's been showing off with her mug there for the video viewers, requesting albums, the Ko-fi.com/rate the record, the RTR club is what I've been trying to say out of that, and a plethora of other things like streaming links too. All of that can be found at ratetherecord.ca, so make sure that you're checking out that website. You have it bookmarked in your phone, your browser, wherever you are, so that way you can just always keep a tab on us. No pun intended, I suppose.
I really have nothing. I'm just enjoying listening to this intro. So
if you keep letting me go by myself in the state that I'm in right now, we'll never get to the episode.
Okay, so the artist that we are doing
Hold
today.
on, there's more I have to do to intro the show. I could still do this, I think. So we're obviously off to a rough start here, but that's usually what we do on the show. So if you've been here before, you already know that. Welcome back to the show. Glad that you're here once again for some reason to hang out with us. Well, I hope it's to discuss music and not to judge how not so great we are at this particular profession.
You know what? To be quite honest, like you can't assume that we're going to be good speakers, first off, or good critics within the first couple years of starting. So if you're here to talk about how crappy we are at what we do, we already know. So shut up. And if you're here to talk about music,
don't shut up.
Good. Good, I guess.
I was originally just gonna say, yeah, you can't tell us what we don't already know, and just tap my head when you mentioned the whole we already know that bullshit. But anyways, you've been here before, so welcome back. But if you're new here, God, we must be dragging for you. I apologize so much. We do talk about music eventually, I promise. But welcome to the show. We sure do hope you enjoy your stay. You should be talking about music because you chose today's album.
Damn right.
But yes, that means you don't know what we do here besides ramble on for a long time. So each week, Savannah and I, we do choose an album. We'll discuss it at length. It might be a completely random one. Like today, it was a random choice. We celebrate album anniversaries. We also take requests. We have plenty of those coming up too, so don't worry about that. We also have more anniversaries coming up. But regardless, we do choose an album. We discuss it at length from front to back. We rank the songs and then we rate the record.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to try to do it in a guy's voice from this band here.
Oh my God, no, I do not know how to. I do not have balls to squeeze to do so.
It's like very gravelly, but also nasally. But there's kind of some cleanliness to it. I don't know. It's a weird voice to describe.
Very much so, yeah.
So on that note, so for episode 82, Savannah did choose today's album, and it's the Black Crowes and their album Shake Your Moneymaker. Yeah. Well, this goes to show that, like, if anyone ever thought for some reason we were like planning things out in advance, like,
not even close.
My God, I could barely speak, and like it's the same structure every week, and I cannot remember how shit goes.
Yeah, I know. We need to put a APB on a new host.
I was gonna say, why do you think that we pre-recorded the disclaimer and don't do that live anymore?
Because you were sick of me trying to go as fast as possible.
Remember that one time I stared in the camera while doing it because I memorized it? That was good times.
That was weird.
Anyway, Savannah will tell us about the Black Crowes. Now, can you just let me do my job, goddammit? She'll tell us about the Black Crowes and the Shake Your Moneymakers. Savannah, please.
The Black Crowes formed in 1984 in Atlanta, Georgia, and were influenced by 60s psychedelic pop, 70s Southern rock, and local band REM. They gradually became a 70s blues rock revivalist band, which you can definitely hear.
Might be a couple comments about that, yes.
I don't doubt that. Initially, they were called Mr. Crow's Garden, but thank God they ditched that. There has been a revolving door of members throughout the years, and the only constant has been frontman Kris Robinson and guitarist Rich Robinson. Relation. In 1989, they were offered a record deal and released their debut album, Shake Your Moneymaker, a year later on February 13th, 1990. The album was produced by George, if I butcher this, apologies if you have the same last name. Produced by George Draculius. Yep, that's what I'm sticking with. The same guy who signed them to Deaf American Records. Shake Your Moneymaker was recorded in Atlanta and Los Angeles and spawned 5 singles, 4 of which are in constant rotation to this day. Jealous Again, Hard to Handle, Twice as Hard, She Talks to Angels, and Seeing Things. Music videos were made for all singles except for Seeing Things, and those are the 4 which I referred to earlier. The album saw generally positive reviews, with Rolling Stone giving it 3 out of 5, NME and All Music giving it a 4 out of 5, Entertainment Weekly giving it a B+, and Kerrang giving it a perfect 5 out of 5.
Kerrang, really? Wow.
Yeah, which I always thought that was like punky sort of music, so it's strange.
Yeah,
to
not
me.
this.
Right? It hit number 4 on the Billboard Top 200 upon release and has been certified 5 times platinum in the United States. The record was not nominated for a Grammy, but in 1991, the whole band was nominated for Best New Artist. They did not win.
Do you know who they lost to?
Mariah Carey.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
They were never going to win.
No, especially when it was like she hadn't even hit her peak yet.
Right?
And she was already on the up and up. There's no way you're beating Mariah Carey.
Hell yeah.
I was looking forward to like making fun of them to losing to like fucking Jethro Tull Jr. or something like that. But no, it's fucking Mariah Carey. I got nothing to say. Yeah, the fucking diva princess over there like wins again, or for the first time, I guess. Wait, but when? So, with all of that out of the way, now that we know a little bit about the band and the album, I guess we'll discuss the album even further, song by song, as we usually do. So let's do it. Song number 1, Twice as Hard.
Before we start the review, there is no logical place for me to insert this in the format of the show, so I'm going to say this now. Cool. 2006, I went and saw the Black Crowes. Here's my ticket, audio listeners. Oops,
it's a ticket. She paid $76.50 for it.
I did not. Someone invited me. It was awesome. Oh. I had Peter Frampton tickets. I took them, and then they took me to this. So that was cool.
Wait, did you guys like swap tickets? Like,
yes. Yeah. Yeah, because I would
rather go see Peter Frampton, to be honest.
Well, how old was I? I was 17, and I just wanted to see like so many artists. If you asked me what happened during the show, I don't fucking know. My mind at the time just heard jamming. That was it. So you can imagine they probably played like 4 songs and made them each 45 minutes long.
I was gonna say, was sobriety an issue at this show? Wink, nudge?
Not for me, no.
Oh, okay. Because when I ever hear someone say they don't remember what happened at a show, I'm just like, so why is that?
I may have had a crush with the guy I went with and probably wasn't paying attention. So.
Oh, you were just gazing into his big musical eyes.
I was super self-conscious and probably was not there. Peter Frampton, I remember. But same with Alice Cooper. I went to that and don't remember a lot of that either. So.
Which is weird because that's like a big theatrical show. Jeez.
I know. Sometimes I take the memories of the second time I've seen them and just fill them in with the first ones, so I don't feel too bad.
See, thankfully I've seen Nine Inch Nails 8 times, so I mean, like,
oh my God.
I can just pick any memory. Although there's one particular, the Lights in the Sky show, I'll always remember that. But anyways, let's talk about this show here. Let's talk about the Black Crowes, Twice as Hard.
All right, you first. I picked the album. Womp womp.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was that whole deal happening again, isn't it?
It is now.
I never make you do that for the albums that I choose, but you always do that.
Last week I think you went first for maybe 2 or 3. So I'll let you go first for the first 7.
I think you just pulled that stat out of your ass, by the way.
Probably.
So the first thing I heard, because so I told you off camera before that when it comes to the Black Crowes, 2 things. I always mistake them for the Counting Crows, just like your name implies there on Zoom. Like I always just thought it was like literally the same band with 2 different names because like I think bands have done that before. But regardless, this is indeed the Black Crowes. And also I told you the only song that I could ever remember was She Talks to Angels. But then hearing this and finally knowing the name, I'm just like, oh yeah, I've grown up with this song. That and Hard to Handle. It's, of course I remember these songs.
Hell yeah.
So I never knew my entire life that this was the Black Crowes. But so I will say, because like when the song first started, although I referenced a Sheryl Crow song that came out in 1996, it was like 6 years later. Yeah. The first note just says, was Sheryl Crow inspired to write If It Makes You Happy based on the opening riff of this song alone? Because the first thing I thought of,
I never connected that.
The first thing I thought of was like, this sounds an awful lot like Sheryl Crow. And then I actually had to Google it while I was listening. I was like, which one came out first? And obviously Sheryl Crow came out later. Yeah. But like, so I was like, oh, maybe she was inspired to write it from this. Who knows? I mean, just not the entire song, but like definitely the opening track. It was just very familiar, but it was also nice to have that kick of nostalgia of realizing I knew this song. Oh yeah. Anything from this, like, I don't know, January 1st, 1990 to December 31st, 1999. Oh, it's up in there. It's up in there. Ooh, the cutoff point being January 1st, 2000. Yes. Sad stuff. But yeah, this is definitely one of those songs, as I said, like that I can register now and I've always known what it was. Just never knew what it was. So that's always good to have. This was definitely written. You could tell this was the first review I wrote for this entire album, because I dig the southern twang to the open of the song. It's just like, oops, is that the entire album? It might be, but I was digging at this point. I just said like the production is like good, full, and warm, and that's generally the entire album too. So that's actually it's a good thing. Parts of it gets a little tiresome, but the production's fine though.
So saying about hearing this song and all this stuff, my first line just says, I've heard this song more times than I've put on socks. And sometimes I wear more than one pair of socks a day. So I like this early, like I write the review before I write the introduction. So I was unaware that they ended up being like a 70s blues rock revivalist band. Well, that is quite fucking obvious here. I like the whole like revival thing that was going on in the 80s and 90s, I guess late 80s and 90s, with like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Black Crowes, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I can't think of anybody else, but I swear to God, there's more. But it's like you can, plenty. Yeah, and you can really like place those songs in a point of time all together. And I really liked it. I liked it when it came out. And I did notice this is kind of overarching for maybe 50 to 60% of these songs. The solo guitar that starts the song and then the rest of the band comes in. There's like four, 6 songs that start that way. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like it here. And then as it continues, I'm like, oh, I don't know if it's a genre thing or if it's like a band songwriting thing, but well, I actually kind of like it.
I'll take a stab at that. Like, and this is not necessarily factual. If it is, I'd be impressed with myself. I'm going to guess that it is a genre thing, because especially if they're blues rock revivalists, blues comes a lot from the guitar and like what the guitar can do. So obviously that's going to be your forefront. So to have that start the song and lead it, I'm going to go ahead and guess that's very much a like purposeful genre thing.
It worked.
To an extent. For a little while it did, and then after a while it just got tiresome.
I agree.
Okay, cool. Then maybe we'll talk about that more as we go. But yeah, it's funny, kind of another blanket statement, although I will say, even after writing this note, I slightly disagree with myself, but still more or less agree. Because I wrote verbatim, I'm taken back to being a kid and never knowing what the hell this singer was saying. I'm in my mid-30s now, and I still feel the exact same way. Because, like, this guy in articulation must be enemies. He must have been bullied at school by articulation. He must have been like given a wedgie and hung from the basketball net by fucking articulation, because this guy doesn't really have it.
I have a response to that, but it is song specific. So when we get to the following song, we're going to put a pin in this and I will read you my note for that.
Fantastic. Then I'll just end this by saying then it was a fun start to the album overall. I do dig the energy, and obviously nostalgia is going to play a huge part in that too. This is also a note I wrote where you can tell was the first thing I wrote about this album, and it's kind of directed at you in a way. Hopefully it's not another one of your 90s pick where everything sounds the same and I get tired before the halfway point. Now, to be fair, there are some songs to be fair, there are some songs that kind of change things up a bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, man, did I predict that one a little bit? And I hadn't even heard this album. I didn't even know who the fucking the Black Crowes were apparently before we started this album.
Now, in my defense, I have only heard 4 out of 6 songs. Those 4 songs being the singles. I've not actually heard this album, so. If it is an album that sounds all the same, whoops. I mean, I'd like to stay on brand. So, I mean, what else did you expect?
I can point out a few others we've done.
And if it doesn't sound the same, you're welcome. So we're yet to see. But I have a couple more points about this song, just in particular. I like that the vocals match the music. It feels kind of like loose, but full of passion and life, if that makes sense, where it seems, and I mentioned this a couple more times, it seems like it's improvised because it sounds like a jam, but it sounds tight enough, but they wrote it where it's supposed to sound like loose and fun. I don't know, whatever they did.
Like Southern blues rock, like that's usually kind of a looser type sound.
And I don't really listen to that stuff outside of what has been presented to me through media or the radio or whatnot. But I feel like this is probably something that I'm going to venture into pretty heavily because I liked it. And super down for the piano in there. Makes appearances on quite a few songs. Still reminds me of a piano bar. I love it very much. And it's no coincidence that the only piano bar I've been to was in North Carolina. So
North Carolina in the South.
Yeah, exactly. I love it though. That's so good.
Feels strange. I do have a note later on in the album about how Southern this feels, and it's very specific. It's just like I will have to read it as I wrote it type thing, because it was like a train of thought type thing.
I do that a lot.
That's a little while from now, so we'll just move on to song number 2, which that's not where we are. My mind is at the very least. So song number 2, Jealous Again. I definitely don't recognize this one as a single at all.
See, okay, so I played this for my partner, and he said the same thing. He's like, what? Because he asked me who we were doing this week, and I played him. I'm like, oh, you definitely have heard these songs. So I played Hard to Handle. He's like, yeah, I know this. She Talks Angels. Yeah, I know this. Twice as Hard. He's like, this sounds kind of familiar. This one, no recollection whatsoever. But I've heard it so many times, and only as it was being fed to me, I never sought it out. So that's surprising to me.
Yeah, this one and Seeing Things, just never heard. Don't even recall. There's not even like that flash of like, hey, maybe this is a thing. Like when I was listening, I was just like, this could be like a million songs I heard. So really? if I did, this was like this was a drop of water in a swimming pool, essentially. Like so, you want me to find that one drop, I'm gonna be there forever. You know.
Interesting. So, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, so I don't recognize this one as a single, but I mean, I guess I can see why it was. I'm again not super huge on this particular one though. Mm-hmm. Throughout the first 2 songs, though, I am really appreciating the guitar tones, which does carry over again. That's kind of another blanket statement. But I definitely started recognizing it here, just like, oh, I just love that, again, that warm, full production. It might have been directly from the amp, too, like, because obviously there's no real, like, digital plug-in back then, so it's just, like, microphone on the amp. So good warm sound. I do appreciate that about this, like, era of music, even if I'm not a fan of all the 90s albums that you choose.
Well, you're going to have to deal with them anyway, so stop giving me a choice.
Because this won't be the last time.
It won't be. Oh, God, it will not be.
It was a whole decade of music, that's what.
And a whole bunch of one-hit wonder albums I'm going to make you listen to. Just wait till I put Dishwalla on the list. So just you talking about the incoherent lyrics of this what I assume to be entire album, maybe one song you can really hear. I just wrote, good thing we aren't doing a lyric review because I really don't know what he's saying. It's a song you mutter through the verses until you just belt out jealous again when the chorus comes up.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to, if you're doing a lyrical analysis, you're supposed to read the lyrics. You can't just trust a guy who, again, literally got bullied by articulation, got a swirly in a toilet by articulation while in elementary school. You can't just go by what he's saying.
Jealous again. That's how I sing the song.
Cool.
Yep.
Do you agree that he was bullied by articulation? I'm going to keep saying because it's funny.
You say it and I can't picture it. So I'm like, what is Kris on? I have no idea what's happening. I've never actually heard him speak in interviews or anything because like, I just don't think to do that. But I imagine that his voice is probably like,
he's pre-grunge.
Yeah, right.
He heard the Bleach album by Nirvana, and he's just kind of like, I like this guy. So I'm going to check it.
Side note, the singer for the Black Crowes was married to actress Kate Hudson for almost a decade.
Wasn't Matthew Bellamy also married to Kate Hudson for almost a decade?
Not married, and I don't care. But Chris Robinson was married to Kate Hudson. And that was one of those ones you look going, what the fuck?
Didn't we have
How?
this? I think we talked about this off camera last week, and how like apparently she's got a thing for musicians. She's dating one now after Matthew Bellamy, and then this guy too, and then she started dating musicians in that one movie, Almost Famous. So she's got a thing for musicians. So you're saying there's a chance as I point at my guitars.
There is probably a chance, and she's not that old. She's 44. So.
And you know what? I dig older women. That's fine. That's fine with me. 44 is not even old. So what the hell? Come on now.
Exactly.
I can say that being in my mid-30s, 44 is not old. Stop it.
Oh, yeah.
80's old. Yeah, get out of here. And then when I'm like 16, I'll be like, 80's not old, you idiots. That's why they say 80 years young. The chorus of this song, though. Please stop me.
I'd love to.
The chorus in this one, though, does feel danceable enough at the very least. So going on with your whole jazz again, or what the hell they're saying?
Yeah.
That works. I mean, but to be fair, though, this one's still not catching me enough, though. Yeah. Remember when I said drop of water in a swimming pool? I mean, like I was quite serious with that analogy. It's hard to explain why it's not catching me, though. Like there's simplicity, but then it's just, I mean, there's simplicity, but then there's just being like too simple.
Yeah.
That makes any sense. Like I don't mind simplicity in music, but when it's just like bare bones and there's nothing cool about it, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. I will say that solo saved things at the end, though, and I know that you were already kind of commenting on the guitar solos. So
yes,
happens a lot in this album. So that's cool. I'm not a fan of all the solos on this album, but this one works. I would have preferred the song go with a ring out instead of a fade, though. Feels like a wasted opportunity because that's when the solo starts. Is when the fade like happens like 10 seconds later.
Yeah. Speaking of the guitar solo, I like the vocals in the guitar solo bridge. I find that fabulous, and I will never, ever pass up singing that part, even if I wasn't paying much attention to the rest of the song. Once it's just the vocals and the guitar, I like that a lot. Although the song has a fun vibe to it, the drums are very on beat, and they aren't lagging at all. They don't feel like they're behind anything, ahead of anything. They're just like on it, and I like that, despite the sort of like loose sort of I don't know how to describe it other than it just seems loose. You know what I mean? It's like when you watch, sometimes when I watch Alex Lifeson play guitar, like I watch his hands, it just looks like two bear paws playing a guitar, but like you hear everything and everything is on point and all the strings are hit and all the notes are played. That's kind of how I feel here, where you kind of feel a nonchalant vibe to it, but when you listen to it, it sounds tight and sort of on it. So I like that, and I like how the drums really push it forward. They're not joining in on the fun. They're the backbone, and they're like, okay, let's go. It's like wrangling toddlers is kind of what it's like. One adult, the rest are toddlers.
It's the designated driver of the group. Yes. Everyone else is having fun, but someone's got to say straight edge and get everyone home.
That is exactly what I'm trying to describe, yes.
The problem with that in music, though, is sometimes, like, I get why it happens and it can very well work, but, like, sometimes it could be detrimental, where it's just like, this is fun, and then you got, like, the straight-edge loser over here tell me that I've had enough to drink. It's like, buddy, we just got here, okay? Sit down, have a glass of water.
Yeah, that's when they turn that instrument down. They're like, okay, well, you know what? Johnny won't shut the fuck up, so we're turning down his snare.
Oh, man, that would sound weird. Okay, so we'll move on then. I guess we're done with Jels again. Song number 3, Sister Luck.
Oh, I keep thinking of Knocking on Heaven's Door when the second guitar comes in. It's about not even a minute into the song and just kept playing in my head. I don't know if you felt the same, but definitely reminded me of that.
I appreciate you thinking of Bob Dylan, though.
I was not. I was actually thinking of Axl Rose. Thank you.
That's even worse.
It is not. In some ways, it is not. This song, not a bad song. I just don't think I was ready for the energy to be brought down so early. And it sounds sad.
I didn't mind the come down. Like we've had 2 songs of pretty good energy. So like, and just kind of scrolling back, I mean, that's about 9 minutes, nearly 9 minutes worth of music to start the album. So then you have this one to come down. So it's not so bad. The song still has like, the energy's not too crazy up to this point, but it's still nice to have. And I think the one thing I appreciated the most about this track, though, was the chorus, probably out of everything. I didn't care too much for. I don't want to say that because that's not true. Like the verses were fine too, but there's something about the chorus that picked up a little more for me. It brings a little more life. Slight key change does a good job of like really emphasizing that too. So just it gave me something to enjoy, and I kind of like how we're not just going on that drink, throw your bottle at the stage, Southern energy. The first two tracks.
I don't think any of the songs have that aggressive energy, thank God. I don't know if this band is actually like capable of that.
I've heard of banjo bands getting beer bottles whipped at the stage with the cages on them, okay? So I mean, like, this song doesn't need that much energy to have that.
I remember episodes long ago. I don't even know when.
Back in the elder days.
We were talking about this, and I wonder what album it was we were talking about, because it probably, I don't know, just as tame as this one, I'm sure.
Probably. Yeah, it was Graves of Wrath.
Oh my God, imagine.
That was like, what, 27, 28? Jesus. Season 2, the massive colossal season.
Jesus Christ. I like when this song picks up about 2/3 of the way through. Still really like the piano. I'm definitely going to just sing the praises of the piano this entire album. I think it fills in the space. I really like it. And it does like some scaling behind the guitar, and that was nice to hear. It added something more than just following the guitar or following the bass. It kind of said, hey, I'm going for a walk and I'll be back in a minute. And it walked drunkily down the alley, and I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, that's the one thing you can always appreciate about a piano is like how well they usually go with the guitar. Yeah. I mean, pianos can go well with almost anything. They're the vanilla instrument, but I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah. Because
like they suit everything. They taste good in almost everything, you know, where they should be, that is. So I mean, like it's hard to like hear them kind of like match, mimic, or even play with the guitar and not sound good. So yeah, this album does do a good job of that. And I mean, that's again that Southern bluesy charm coming through. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I honestly didn't feel like too much time even passed in this track too, which is funny to say because it's 5 minutes and 13 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of flowed along well enough, and it didn't really feel like it was overstaying its welcome. So, and like it wasn't like it had that similar kind of flow going through it, but there was just something about it that was more enjoyable this time around. So I definitely gave more of a thumbs up to this one.
Good.
You have nothing to follow with it.
I have nothing. Good. I have nothing other than half menacing good, which I kind of sound like some sort of vampire. But yeah, that's really it. I have nothing else for that one.
Maybe I should drink more, have more drunk slurring just to fill in these gaps that you're leaving me here. Jesus.
It's fine. We'll take care of it in post. Also, I don't even know what to say other than the thing I said before, the other thing I said before, and a couple other things I already said. So
watch me being the smartass in editing where I just like literally take what you said before and just paste it right here. So it just like completely like goes through again. People are like, what the hell?
That's fine. I'm sure they listen to this and they think, what the hell anyways. So anyways, well, intro the next song, goddammit.
I was literally just about to. Song number 4, Could I Have Been So Blind? Or it's not a question. So could I have been so blind?
Period. Hard stop.
Yes, no question mark. Although it is a question though, so where the hell is the question mark? Kris Robinson.
Yeah, stupid.
Dumbass.
The solo guitar starts this song again. Again, we already sort of said it was a genre thing, so I'm just going to read the notes just to keep talking. I can see this song being covered by like a voice like Miley Cyrus and her rasp, not the Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus, but like the badass I will kill you and your family Miley Cyrus that she is now.
Miley Cyrus in her 20s after like 2,000 packs of cigarettes. Cyrus.
Yeah, you know she's in her 30s now.
Oh, is she?
She is.
Oh wait, yeah, isn't she older than us?
No, she's I think 92 or 93.
Oh, okay, so she's young. So. She's a youngin'. Look at her, all cute. Anyways, Bangers album. Okay, weird.
It's wild to think she's in her 30s, but amazing voice. I will always commend her on that.
Oh, she has a fantastic voice.
Oh, hell yeah.
She like people might be annoyed by some of her antics, but like you can't deny her voice.
Oh, it is fucking awesome. And listening to her cover rock songs is just fucking, it is fantastic. And I can see her doing some sort of like Southern rock type thing if she hasn't already. I mean,
I think she's already kind of starting to do that. I don't know. It's hard. I don't really pay attention to Miley Cyrus, so I don't know.
I've heard her cover, I think it was Heart of Glass by Blondie, and she killed it. So I can see her singing this for sure. The more I listen to this song, the more I kind of actually like it, because I was on the fence at the beginning because of how similar I think they are to this. What the fuck did I write? Am I on crack? The more I listen to this one, I actually like it because I was on the fence at the beginning because of how similar I think they are to the first. It is to the first two tracks.
Are you sure I'm the one drinking today? Holy shit.
I'm just drinking water. To be quite honest, I wear glasses and I can't see worth shit. Yeah. So that's probably why.
I would love to go back through the previous 81 episodes and like tick every time you in an episode when you wear your glasses and when you don't and see what the ratio is right there.
I stopped wearing them once I looked up in the lights and I could see the reflection of the lights in my glasses and I didn't like that.
Yeah, we couldn't see your eyes anymore, but doesn't that give some people more confidence being like completely like blind to the audience or something like that? It gives you more confidence to project or something like that. That's a concert thing. I know that much.
I didn't know that. I know that there's a guitarist, Joe Bonamassa, and I've seen him live. And
my dad fucking loves Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm quite aware who he is.
An ex of mine really liked him, so we went. And he plays with sunglasses. I don't know why, but I definitely noticed that it was kind of a strange thing.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I always thought it was just like a confidence thing, but it's funny you bring that up.
He seems to be a guy with quite the ego, so I'm like he's either faking the ego or maybe it's not fake and it's just massive confidence. I don't know. Like maybe he just thinks he looks cool. I don't know. He's a blues guy, an old blues. Well, he's not old, but like he acts like an old blues guy.
Interesting. I didn't know about the ego thing. I didn't get that off him. But then again, I was only adjacent to someone who was into him, so probably didn't know.
And I could even be wrong about that, but from what I've seen, like he comes across as humble, but when you watch him long enough, it's just kind of like, all right, the cockiness is there. You could definitely see it. I mean,
interesting. So we will be doing one of his albums then.
Watch. It's gonna be a request from my dad too, because if anything, he will. I swear to God, he'll request a Rush album. It's like, no, we already did that one. It's like, okay, then Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah, do that because then I can hold up my concert ticket for that too.
I'll hold up his concert. I'll get him to step on camera and talk. I'll invite him over just to talk about it.
I wonder if we were at the same show. Very strange. This was about 10 years ago.
No. It was more recent, and I bought them tickets for their anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Because they're sitting there. Literally, we were in their backyard having beer, and they were talking about how the tickets were too expensive. So while they're saying that, I'm on my phone buying tickets. It's like you're going to Joe Bonamassa.
I do shit like that all the time, and then all you're thinking is, how am I going to make this money back? It's like the gift is so good, but how am I going to eat now?
Yeah, I think I made it work though. I ate a lot of like popcorn that week and like spoonfuls of peanut butter to get me by. Those are the days.
Oh, you're a good man.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yep.
Let's see here. We're still talking about could I have been so blind. Oh yeah, so kind of going back for a moment here, talking about everything's starting to feel similar. My very first note, already starting to feel a bit of that deja vu. And that's not the first time or last time in this album. Not that everything sounds exactly the same, but I mean it's all coming from like the same place, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah.
So I mean it's hard to draw anything else out to say about it because there's nothing like spectacular happening. But I will say that this song feels like one of those bar bands who plays like 4 sets on a Thursday night between like 7 and 2 a.m. 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. This is like we wrote this one ourselves. And like meanwhile they're just like, play the Rolling Stones, asshole.
Yeah, I can see that. That is definitely the vibe I get from this. And the more there are like staccato notes on the piano, the more I get it's weird how that just gives me bar vibes for sure.
I wonder how you'd feel about Go With The Flow by Queens of the Stone Age then.
Like the song?
Because like just the piano like din, 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 for like almost the entire song while everything else is happening.
Maybe if or when we review that, we will see. But I've definitely heard the song before, and it didn't seem to bother me too
we've
much.
done 2 Queens of the Stone Age albums now, so
gotta wait 2 years.
Chances are their biggest album will appear on the show at some point.
Excellent.
Be it request, or I'm going to pick it myself.
Beautiful.
So the only other thing I have to say is there is energy in this song. It's there, but again, just nothing particularly interesting. So, head.
Leaving on a positive note, my last note is just I like the bass and drum cooperation. I know normally the bass would follow the drums and blah, blah, blah. But I could really hear it in this one, and I liked it. It sounded good. Yay. That's all.
No, that's fine, because I'm also done with that one too. You left on a positive note, kind of. I left on kind of a negative note. So we'll just move on to song number 5, Seeing Things. So I will say that the gentle instrumentals are nice here. Actually, I'll start off by saying this. I have 5 notes altogether for this song. 2 good, 2 negative, and 1 neutral.
Uh-oh.
So in what order would you like to hear them? Let's say that much.
I would like to hear negative, neutral, negative, positive, positive.
Okay, I can try to remember that order because I'm clearly that smart. So going with the first negative. So this singer, Kris Robinson is his name, correct?
Yes, it is.
Does this singer only have one mode of singing is my real question, because like I get that like his voice is like the same in every song. Even when he goes soft, it always comes back to the same damn thing. And I get that like you want to emphasize certain parts of like an emotional song to really kind of like show off those points. But I feel like another vocalist in this song would have done wonders, because like, I don't know, when you hearing him mix the two just feels so cartoony to me, because his voice is already kind of cartoony. So it's hard for me to take it seriously in this type of song. Like, granted, he does it better than She Talks to Angels, but like this one, just I'm not feeling it. I'll tell you my neutral one, then you're going to go ahead and jump off of this. My neutral one, it was actually my very last note. The chorus reminds me of Joe Cocker's version of With a Little Help from My Friends.
I don't know if I've heard that.
You probably have, and you just don't recall it.
Is that not a Beatles song?
It is, but his version became way more popular than the Beatles.
Really? I've never heard his, but I've heard the Beatles.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you get up and walk out on me? Lend me. I'm not just gonna sit here and sing all fucking.
No, yeah. No. Your tone is kind of bringing that out, but
well, because the thing is, he sings
more familiar.
It's like an infinitely different version than the Beatles. Like, because Ringo's like, "What would you do if I sang?" But like, it's just like a bouncy little number. But Joe's like, all like the slow bluesy emotion of it is there, and it's just so good. It's like such a great cover.
I don't know why, like that just never stuck into my brain as being a different song.
It might as well be, because it's infinitely different in every way, shape, and form. Like the only thing that is similar about the song is the lyrics. Everything else is just its own thing.
Interesting.
But yeah, the chorus reminds me of that. It could be good because I like that song by Joe Cocker, but when I'm thinking about a better song over top of this one, that's probably not so great.
Just answering your rhetorical question from the first point you had, if Kris Robinson has any other ways of singing, or if it's really just a one-trick pony. If you listen to the song Remedy from their 1992 album, sounds the same. If you listen to the songs Soul Singin' and Lickin' off their 2000 and I think it's 2000 or 2001 record Lions, yep, sounds the exact same. And that I haven't heard anything new since that album in 2000 or 2001. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
And the thing is, it's such a weird thing for me to nitpick about, because like obviously a lot of singers don't necessarily, their style doesn't change too much, their voice doesn't change too much. Certain singers do, but the other ones are just like, it doesn't happen. You don't really think twice about it. And we've done plenty of bands on the show in the past that have been that way. But I mean, it's his tone that like just sticks out. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes I want him to shut up. Sometimes I'm absolutely cool with it.
Yeah.
But just like in a song like this, it doesn't work. So just like I don't like that thing that he fucking does when it's supposed to be kind of a gentler song. I just don't dig it.
I did make note that I could hear Sass Jordan singing this song.
Yeah, I was thinking about Amanda Marshall for a minute there, but yeah, Sass Jordan.
Yeah, I can see her singing this. I like that this song. I'm pretty sure this is in like 3/4 or 6/8 or something because it sounds very waltzy.
Yeah, it's 3/4.
And I really like that. Now, what is this? Overarching statement that the piano and organ, the whole album is pleasing. I already said that. Definitely a fan of the choir at the end.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm really curious to see if that's one of your negatives, but hopefully it's a positive. Or you didn't write it down at all.
Well, I wrote about background singers in one of my positive notes. Nice, I gotta read you my other negative note first.
Okay.
It's not even that bad of a negative. Just that this felt a little longer than it needed to be because it's 5 minutes and 18 seconds. This one felt like it dragged a bit, so could have been shorter. But then positive, sure. The digital instrumentals are really nice in the song. I really dig it. The organ does a lot for the track in the background of the song. It's not even a major part of it, but it does a lot to kind of like keep things together, kind of like the drums did in previous tracks. Like this was the sobriety day for the organ to kind of keep everything in track, you know.
Oh hell yeah.
The refrain and the chorus of this one's fine too. I really do like it. The female background singers were the right choice to do. Like it fit. Again, it kind of gave that like Leonard Skinner charm too, you know, like because they use like a lot of female background singers too. So
yeah.
By the way, that name comes up a little later, and that's that really long note I told you that I had.
Oh, okay.
Leonard Skinner comes up in that one too. So wow, I couldn't tell if these guys were influenced by Southern music. Holy shit.
It's funny because
before you jump on again, where did you say they were from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I missed that part in the beginning.
Yeah. But it's funny because reading that is like psychedelic pop. I'm like, okay, I get it. Because if you watch some of their music videos, their performances, like they're on like he's wearing tie-dye, or they're wearing like it's like a mix between Steven Tyler and like a velvet couch. It's kind of like that, where it's like they're wearing like velvet overcoats and velvet bell-bottom pants, but they have those belts where they sound, or they look like they would sound like belly dancer belts. You know what I'm saying? And they're dressing up with like, I don't know. They're just
so they're literal like 70s revivalists, because a lot of bands dressed like that back then.
Yeah, it's kind of like what people say about Greta Van Fleet.
I was just about to mention like this is where Greta Van Fleet got it from to do all this revivalist shit. Although I will say, like, you can hear the influence in these guys, but like they are kind of still their own thing, especially again with the vocals in this tone. Whereas Greta Van Fleet is literally copycatting. Like even Robert Plant said that. He was just like, this is just Led Zeppelin. So it's just like, fuck Greta Van Fleet. I don't care what anyone says. I know a lot of people like them, but just like they're copycatting, and it doesn't mean that the music can't be good, but like it doesn't sound original or anything. Just like, God, give it a rest. It's like a Wolf Mother when that came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah, maybe they're just copying Wolf Mother then.
Oh my God. Well, at least Wolf Mother was a little more fun with it, but I don't know.
They're the Led Zeppelin of Australia. Greta Van Fleet is the Led Zeppelin of America. Led Zeppelin of America. And now we just need one from like some random Eastern European country, like the Czech Led Zeppelin, you know.
We need like a Canadian one too.
We're lumped in with the US. We already have Greta Van Fleet. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say change it and make them from like the Yukon or Nunavut or something like that. Something like you wouldn't even anticipate. Like, oh, that's Canada. I forgot about that.
It doesn't just end right above Toronto. Okay.
Yeah, it goes further south, believe it or not. There's a lot of trees up there.
You mean north, but yes.
Yeah, up that way.
Yeah. I got nothing else for this one, if that wasn't obvious.
No, yeah, I said all mine too. Like, because you wanted my notes in a very specific order, and I read them.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's much to say about this one that I haven't really touched upon. I felt like the energy was sort of like brought down a little bit, but I understand because 10 songs on the album released in 1990, clearly released on vinyl. This is the last track on side A. Kind of want to bring it down a little bit because the next song definitely brings the energy back up. So I was going to complain and then decided not to, and then explain that I was going to complain, which may sound like a complaint, but it's really not.
And hot tagging you in real quick, because we'll jump to song number 6, Hard to Handle, where my very first note is assuming this would start the B-side. It's a good choice to start the B-side.
Definitely.
Because, yeah, like you had that quiet come down, and it's not the end of the album at that point, but it's just the end of the side. So you flip this one over, boom, energy's back. So there you go. It's a good pickup from that, the ballad that was the previous one.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, obviously with Hard to Handle, the nostalgia makes it sound a little more.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one I made fun of endlessly as a kid, because like as a kid I could never really understand what he was saying. As an adult I kind of can, but there's still like times when he's just kind of like still clearly being like beat up at the playground by articulation, you know. Just
yeah,
I'm not gonna drop that because that's how I feel.
Yeah, I can tell. Although I am imagining him being held by the back of his collar and like his face being pushed into the sandcastle that he just made in the playground.
See, I imagine articulation grabbing him by the ankle, shaking him for his lunch money till it all falls to the ground, and then he picks up whatever fell to the ground. He just walks away with it, and this guy is just sitting there like, "You're coming back to get him."
Okay, it wasn't funny until you did that, and thank you for it.
Cool. At least I'm funny somewhere in this.
Oh my god. I do have to ask though, did you know this song is a cover?
No.
It is an Otis Redding song.
Otis Redding, I know that name, don't I?
Yeah, I have no idea. I've not heard really any of his songs other than ones that have been referred to as covers. So.
Oh, I'm thinking of the name. I think it's a guy named Shuggy Otis. So it's definitely not the same guy.
No idea what you're talking about anymore.
I'm just saying I didn't know who Otis Redding was, but I know a guy named Shuggy Otis. That's it.
Yeah. And then I realized I don't know who that is. Moving on. If you haven't heard of the Black Crowes before, you have. It's very difficult to not have heard this song even in passing. I said that about a couple others at the beginning of side A. My experience was that I am wrong, but this one for sure you've definitely heard, and I am glad that we are back to the upbeat jams. I like that it starts side B. Definitely would not like if it started the entire album. I feel like it would show its hand too early.
To an extent, because for the most part, this is another one of those songs that kind of sound like everything else. But I will say the one thing that kind of makes it stand out a little more for me, aside from nostalgia, is the a cappella refrain that happens. Like, what is it? Hey, little mama, let me light your candle because I'm sure hard to handle now, or something along the lines of that. I don't know.
You know what? Close enough. Yeah.
Because you know why? You can barely understand what the fuck he's saying. So I tried. I still got it wrong.
Hey, little thing. Let me light your candle because mama, I'm so hard to handle now. Yes, I am.
Okay, well, there you go. See, because you have more familiarity with the song then.
Yes.
But yeah, like I do like that they made it completely a cappella. All the instrumentals disappear. So like that part's going to be memorable to you though, because it's just this guy yelling at you in the microphone at that point. So it's just like, that was smart. I like that because even when I don't know the words, if it's "Hey little mama, sure I am now," like I'm gonna remember the melody of it, right?
I am ham now.
I'm gonna remember the melody. That's all that matters. So I can scream whatever I want at a concert that I would never go to because I wouldn't pay to see the Black Crowes. They'd have to play like Sound of Music in Burlington or something like that. I would scream that in the crowd, something about being ham, and no one would know any of the difference because I sang the melody perfectly.
Exactly. That is terrible to do in a group of people that paid to see them. Hopefully they don't turn you upside down, shake out all your money, and leave you on the playground.
At least articulation's not one of them. Maybe sometimes.
I've always liked the guitar solo in this. I feel like it fits the song so perfectly. Like the solo at the end is extravagant, but it still fits and isn't clashing with the vocals or the vocal melody. And it just, I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't take your attention away from anything, but it takes your attention. You know what I mean? that makes any sense. Yeah, I like it.
Just keeps you in the song. There you go.
It does, and it doesn't break me out of anything. I don't think, why does this sound like this? This sounds stupid. This sounds overdubbed. It's natural and nice, like a bubbling brook.
I'll go back for a minute too and just mention, because like I said, this song still kind of has like similar vibes to the rest of the album and everything like that. I mentioned like the chorus makes it stand out. I think this would have worked better as a single, because like, I mean, because this one blends with everything else, like having heard the 6 songs in, it's not as exciting as if you just like hear it on the radio, for example. Yeah. So this one does indeed just work better as like a single rather than like listening to it on the entire album. I will say that much.
So when you're listening to it, was it just having other songs by the same artist buffering it that you were kind of like, eh? Or like when it's on the radio and it's just sort of sporadic, you're like, oh shit, I kind of like this, and I'm never going to listen to it until it comes back up on the radio again.
Yeah, it's kind of the latter, because like you hear a song like this on the radio and it sounds fine, you're fine with listening to it, and then like the next artist could be completely different. You know, it's maybe a slower song, maybe it's a faster song, whatever. It's like who knows? But it's not like sounding like 9 other songs that came before or after it, you know? So I mean, like,
you're not like fatigued.
No, when you hear it on the radio, you don't care. Like, you'll listen to it, you won't even think twice. Hey, this is fun as a little refrain, something about him and a ham. Like, it's a good song. But then when you hear it 6 songs in, though, it's just kind of like, I know that you said this wouldn't have worked starting the album, and I do agree, but I don't necessarily want them to front load the album, but this should have appeared on Saturday. Okay. Because maybe I would have felt differently about it. Like, not that it changed the score, but just, I don't know, having to flip to side B just to get here, just kind of, I don't know. The payoff didn't feel so good.
That's why there's 3 singles on side A and 2 singles on side B. They're not going to let you get away with just listening to one side. That's it. They're going to make their money's worth. Right.
But I will say that She Talks to Angels, though, fits on the B side. We'll get there in a minute, but this one fits on the B side, though. Although I do make it like a note against that too. But now that I think about it, like, I do disagree with it. But we'll get there when we get there. Do you have anything else for this one?
I just like that the verse went up a key before the guitar solo. It was a nice touch to add interest, because I believe it was the last verse of the song proper. So having that go up and then pretty much blow out at the rest of it, where it's like solo and then it's just a bunch of choruses and then the chorus over a solo. They really doubled down on that one. Then the song ends. So having that sort of ramp up before the whole crescendo of the end, I like that. I kind of like the song a little bit more than just listening to it passively on the radio. I definitely agree with what you said about kind of feeling fatigued with listening to it on the album. But when I'm actually focusing on it and paying attention to it individually rather than, in the car or just whatever, I kind of like it a little bit more. And that is it for that one.
Fair enough. Yeah. I as we're talking, it kind of got me thinking of like hearing these songs in concert too. And like, obviously going to a Black Crowes concert, I can imagine how similar the entire set list would sound. But because like you go in anticipation of being able to hear all these decades of songs, and then you get to these ones that you know so well, that feels more exciting. Maybe I should feel that way about the album, but I don't know. That's just kind of like, that's how I felt listening to this one front to back.
I know during the very last track, I speak sort of on my experience with seeing them live, if I haven't really spilt most of it already. But yeah, I guess seeing them live, you do really go for the songs that even though I don't remember even the songs that I know. So,
well, that they played this one. That's all you need to know.
Of course they did. I go on the general assumption.
That's like when I went to go see like Chilliwack play at the festival, the It's Your Festival here in Hamilton. And of course they played like every single hit. It's just like they played like one or two that weren't. I'm just like, oh, I don't know those ones.
I wonder if they sing the song that I like. Nope. No, we talked about this last week. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's a sweet song. It's not chill.
Oh yeah, okay. Oops. All right, so song number 7 then, moving along, Thick and Thin, or Thick and Thin with apostrophes around it. If you want articulation, which Kris Robinson clearly did not. It's thick and thin. And
shouldn't there be an apostrophe on both sides of that N?
Wasn't there? Oh, that's the way I wrote it on my sheet, so.
See? Proper. Anyways.
Oh, so vocabulary and articulation, everything was just against this man.
Well, to be quite honest, he was, okay, so if the band started in 1984, and him and his brother are really the only constant members, I would assume that he was about 17 or 18 when the band started.
You're saying he dropped out of high school to do music?
He may have, is what I'm saying.
So vocabulary held him down and articulation pink-bellied him?
Probably. And then he got up and went, I'm going to be a bully too, and then dropped out of school and then just took articulation and whatever else the hell you said, hand in hand and ran towards the sunset.
And then he wrote a song about a ham sandwich and got really big for it.
He did not write it, but yes, he sang it.
Good enough. That's all I need to know. He got famous for it regardless. Ham sandwich. So Thick and Thin. So the song starts with the car wreck sound, and it was pretty ballsy of them to predict my album review 33 years after its release.
Oh my God. I was confused by the collision at the beginning. So that's what I wrote. Okay. Confused by the collision at the beginning of the song, but today I'm going to listen past that.
Did it make you think of Mick Foley at all?
Yes, oh my God, it definitely did.
What's that? I was going to wrestling fan?
I was so going to
Yeah. I knew you would know that one.
100%, yeah.
Whenever you hear a car wreck, chances are Mick Foley's about to stumble his way out to the ring.
I need a fucking hobby. Yeah, that's not that.
Yeah, you need a hobby that's not wrestling or B-tiering albums, apparently.
And only one of them I enjoy.
Despite that comment, that very, very harsh comment, I will say I did enjoy this one actually more as I was listening to it. This one was definitely more exciting. And a lot of that comes from like the heavier and livelier drum beat. So it's kind of like that sober drummer took like maybe a shot of Fireball, and he's just kind of like, oh, this is why you guys are having fun. Yeah. So like I was feeling it on this one. He was clearly feeling it on this one. So hey, pretty cool.
Hell yeah. It's just over 2.5 minutes, but it doesn't feel short or sped through despite the quick tempo, because sometimes you'll listen to shorter songs. You're like, oh shit, like that's it. There was only a verse, chorus, and that was it. But it felt like an appropriate amount of time, although I think it's the shortest track on the album. I think it feels like a lot of fun. I enjoy the chorus chords. They sound off, but they sound right at the same time. And I only have one more note. It's 10 out of 10 danceable, and I did, and I was asked to stop.
Even better. That was the twist ending I wasn't ready for.
That's all I got for this
one. Were you like Elaining in your kitchen? Your partner's just like, don't.
So to be quite honest, while I was doing this review, I had my laptop on the kitchen counter, I had my earbuds in, and I was making some banana bread. So while they were waiting for me to make banana bread, they kept peeking back, and apparently I'm standing towards the counter, dancing to this. And because there was no music playing in the house, I was asked to stop because it looks like I was possessed.
You've completely just lost your mind. And that's when they realize you didn't have the earbuds in the entire time. There's the music in your head the whole time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Listen, I don't have Spotify on me, but it's right here. That's all that matters. I got thousands of songs right here, and I only remember the lyrics to some of them.
and they're all any cover of Steal My Sunshine.
That or was his Mama Ham. That's another song that I definitely remember.
Oh my God.
A lot of callback jokes in this one from the same episode that they came from.
So meta.
Thank you. I know I'm quite clever with my comedy. This one, you're right, is short and sweet, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. They managed to catch my attention in one shorter track than most songs on this album actually did in any other length of time. And even going back for a minute too, I didn't realize that Hard to Handle was only 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Mm-hmm. I never really paid attention, I guess,
boy.
but that song didn't feel that short. Like I was like, wow, that's interesting. I thought it was longer than that.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is not. Yeah, I don't know. It Hard to Handle didn't feel like it. I don't know. It felt appropriate, which this one did as well. And they're basically the same amount of time. I mean, like, I guess you can cram a lot of music into 20 seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and round up and say they're pretty much the same.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
For the sake of moving on, I'll let you have that one.
Thank you.
Song number 8, the only one I knew coming into this album, She Talks to Angels.
I think this song is about somebody addicted to drugs.
Oh, is it? Is it because she's going all nutty and everything like that? And
she says she talks to angels. She says they call her.
Are they nurses?
They call her by her name, quite possibly. But I think
is this another Nurse Who Loved Me situation?
Callback.
Yeah. That's the card up in the corner there. That's why.
I think I read that this song was written during their Mr. Crow's Garden era, and that it was written about somebody that Chris Robinson had vaguely known that was addicted to heroin. And I believe since it was before they changed their name, he was probably in his late teens, which is pretty tragic. So that's what I deduced from just reading a sentence.
That's literally the story of how Jane's Addiction got their name too.
Oh, really?
They lived in, like, I think it was like Perry and Dave lived in this big bum house, and there was this prostitute named Jane, and she was quite addicted. And they even wrote the song Jane Says about her as well, and like situations she was going through at that time. So yeah, it's like kind of similar stories.
Do you think that the Bare Naked Ladies, Jane, off of their album, I can't remember what it's called. But song Jane, do you think that she was like, oh, I need to screw all these people, and then moved away and then got addicted to drugs and then was written about by other artists?
Well, very possibly, but Jane's Addiction came out before Jane did. Like the song Jane. So, because this also happened like in the teen years of Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro. So, I don't even think Bare Naked Ladies were like formed at that point.
Came out in 94.
With the song Jane? Oh, yeah. And like Jane's Addiction's like what, 80? They started in 88 or 87 or something like that. Oh, so, yeah, this goes way back. Anyways, kind of like veering way the hell off point here.
Oh, shit. I didn't realize Jane Says was so old. I'm sorry. Dang. Yeah. It doesn't sound like
it's like one of their first tracks. I mean, one of their first big singles. Like, it's older than Bing Caught Stealing, if I'm not mistaken.
I literally did not know that. I thought it came out in maybe like 92, 93.
Oh, no, it pretty much kicked off their career.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Okay. I learned something completely unrelated to what I should be learning.
What's that? We're going to do Jane's Addiction eventually. Who knows? Maybe we will.
I'm sure.
I'd be very curious to do Jane's Addiction one day.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
So She Talks to Angels, like my comment before about Sheryl Crow and like, hey, wasn't she inspired to write this? Was Collective Soul inspired to write Blame from this track? Because there's a lot of compositional similarities.
I hear it. Oh my God.
Because like, you know how it like, if you don't even go by the video version, if you go by the album version, it starts with like this kind of quiet acoustic opening.
Yeah.
And it sounds very similar. So the first thing I thought was like, is this Blame?
That never occurred to me. And I definitely heard that song a million times. The answer, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, because I mean, Blame came out, I think like 97. I think Precious Declaration. No, sorry. Oh yeah, that's the album, Precious Declarations. It came out in 97, I think. Because then 99 was Dosage.
Let me see. I think
fact checked on there.
Yeah, I think it was 1998. You could be quite right, but if you're right, I'm out of here. Oh, look at that. Fuck you.
Well, yes. Then I guess she's out of here though. Podcast over. See you later. I don't even have to tell you what I think of the song.
I said it as a empty threat because I honestly thought it was 1998. Yeah, no, it was 1997.
I mean, I remember when the album came out, my parents bought it and like I put it on like immediately because I like the self-titled, whatever the hell you want to call that Blue album. I've heard it called two different things. Don't they have like 2 self-titled albums? That's so weird.
I don't know. I just know that Collective Soul's best song to me is the song Listen off of this album that we
Precious Declarations, yes.
Yeah. Discipline Breakdown is the actual
Discipline Breakdown, that's it. It's not
the actual album.
Also a good song too. Anyways, back to this song though.
Yeah.
Besides that Collective Soul blame combination there, like this is where I kind of said like who would have guessed this was like end of album vibes in this song, because I mean like when you listen to this as a single, I wouldn't have imagined this being this close to the end of the album. I wouldn't have anticipated this one being a B-side, but at the same time it starts to make sense to me considering everything else we've gotten and how front loaded the A-side is, so I guess this makes sense. But yeah, like obviously this one's kind of a classic. This is the only one I remembered coming into this album. It sounds nice, so I do enjoy it.
I really like how the song starts with just the acoustic guitar and how it stays acoustic the whole song, even after the organ, the drums, the bass, everything comes in. It doesn't just like you hit a switch and it's all electric. It still stays the same sort of chill acoustic vibe, and I like that a lot. And I've always liked the lyrics in this one. It's so much easier to discern than almost every other
articulation. Took a day off from bullying him this one, so it's like, okay, good, he's actually got words in his mouth. He was held at home because he got sick for a day.
And I think that the lyrics paint a nice picture of what the song is about. It's, even though it's not like she did this, she walked here and blah, blah, blah. It's not like spelling it all out. It's spelling it out enough that you get it. And I like that. But it does sound like it was bred from a jam session, because even the bridge isn't too far off from the song itself. And it really does feel improvised with what they have. I don't know how to articulate that more proper, other than everything that I've heard so far sounds loose, sounds like a jam session, and sounds organic. I think maybe organic is what I'm getting at, but I like it. It's good.
Yeah, this one as compared to the other ones on the album just feels a little better, I guess, and I'm trying not to let nostalgia cloud that for me too, because it's very difficult to do that, especially when you've been listening to for decades. If we have any young listeners who have like never heard this song before, then maybe it feels completely different. And also go to bed, please. You're up too damn late today. Everything is really well balanced and stands out well in the mix in this one. Not that it hasn't on the rest of the album, but this one, just there's something about the mix in this one that just felt very right, like so much better. So I had to note that because I thought that was great. I do like how the verses have something like a call and answer to them, because like between the vocals and instrumentals, like the vocals sing over top of like ringing out instrumentals, and then once the vocals stop, they play their little riff, and then it rings out again while he sings. So it's a good call and answer there. Makes it a little more interesting, a little bit playful too with the composition. So I like that. But I will say that this one probably dragged out a little too long. This one does go on for a while. It could have made its point at like 4 minutes and 30 seconds type deal, but it's 5.5 minutes. I mean,
is it because of the repetition of the chorus at the end? I mean, I didn't hate it because the vocals were more, I don't want to say aggressive, but like they amped up with each repetition of the chorus. But I do see how it would take forever to really get to the end.
There was a lot of chorus in this song.
Yes. There definitely was. Oh my God.
Like you run out of things to say really quickly. So it's just like, chorus, hurry. People like refrains.
Right. And I think maybe at the end, I would venture to say there's probably 3 or 4 of them that he just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. But like it's with the organ, sustained organ in behind. And I liked it, but when you think about it, you're like, okay, we probably could have just mixed one of these. But I do like how he changed up his voice enough where by the end it kind of feels like dire and like he's screaming if he wasn't really already screaming. Sounds more screamy-ish. Yeah.
This one feels like it has more emotion to it, even though like he's that one trick pony vocalist like we mentioned before. Like this one definitely feels like it has more emotion, so it works. It's fine.
I agree.
Okay, then moving on to the penultimate track of the album, song number 9, "Struttin' Blues." Now, this is where I have that big long note I wanted to read before, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, this is quite a few lines here, so I'm gonna read it exactly how I wrote it, and hopefully I didn't misspell anything and I don't fuck up. So, when I heard the name "Struttin' Blues," because once again, remember that's the name of the song, I didn't think it would sound like leaning on my Dodge Ram truck at a gas station, telling some scrawny, silly city boy filling up his 1988 Eagle Premier. I had to look that up because I'm not a car guy, and it's a really shitty looking car. Filling up his 1988 Eagle Premier that he got as a 3 times hand-me-down. I'm telling him that Leonard Skinner could write a better song falling down the stairs while drunk than any of his pussy Blink Street boys could ever even try. I didn't think that's what this song would be, but here we are. That's exactly what it ended up being. I thought it'd be more bluesy, but it was way more Leonard Skinner.
Okay, I take it you didn't really like this one too much. My note is a lot shorter, like my first note is a lot shorter than yours, but it does say this sounds like a bluesy version of hair metal, and I am not mad about it.
It's not true that I didn't really like the song. Like, it's not my favorite on the album, but it's not so bad. If anything, like, I thought the pickup was good coming off of She Talks to Angels, and especially as we're nearing the end, although this song does have like less end of album vibes as compared to the previous one. But I mean, this one was fine, good pickup. Then my last note is, did this song ever sell a truck, beer, or even meat? Because it sounds like it could be in any one of those commercials.
I would say probably for like a 1996 Chevy Silverado, probably.
Or I mentioned the Dodge Ram. I think I had to Google these car models, like the 1988 Eagle Premier. I typed in like worst car models of like the last 40 years, and I just scrolled through, and that one caught my eye as being super ugly. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick on you. And then Dodge Ram truck, I was just like, what looks not too modern but would fit like a backcountry dude? And it was like a 2002 Dodge Ram or something like that. I was like, yeah, that's the one too. I'm not a car guy, so I don't know any of this shit. I couldn't even, like, the only thing I know is where the fucking gas goes, where you put the nozzle. That's about it. I don't know anything else about cars.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're a music guy either. But now here's where I get to shit on it, where I'm not going to, but it's also not positive. There isn't much to this that is different from the rest of the album. Now, I do like the hard rock sound, but it really doesn't stand out too much. And I like the guitar tone in some places, but aside from that, it just sounds like a typical hard rock song with the same sort of structure that you would expect.
So are you saying that songs on this album are starting to feel a little similar?
Yes, but it took me 9 songs to say something. So
oh, really?
I just have restraint. I just have restraint is what it is.
Fair, although you haven't shown that restraint in the past, so I think you're just giving yourself your own bias here.
I'm trying to be a better reviewer, and I'm trying to give things some time instead of being like, no shit, and just dismissing it. So I figured I would start right now.
82 episodes in, respectable, absolutely.
I am 34 years in, and I haven't changed a goddamn thing about me. So, I mean, we'll see.
Even though you're literally trying to change a thing about you right now, as you just stated 5 seconds ago.
That was the secret. It's not gonna change.
Secret.
Anyways, that was it. That's all that I have for that song.
Very good. We'll move on to the very last song then. Song number 10, Stare It Cold. And it took you 9 songs. I've been saying it all goddamn album, but my first note is, the album ends the same way most of it sounds. Why am I surprised?
Definitely giving me end of album vibes. This one for sure.
No.
And no?
No, it sounds like every other again, drop of water in a pool. Like, tell me where the end is. She Talks to the Angels could have been the end of the album. I would have been fine with that. Like, this just sounds like it could have been like 4th song in, and I would have even noticed the difference. You could swap them. I wouldn't notice the difference.
Okay, fine. After the 4-minute mark out of 5 minutes and 13 seconds, that's when it starts to sound like end of album vibes, because that's when it like picks up. And it's like this frantic pace that I want at the end of the record.
I guess, but to me it's too little too late.
It is too little. It's a minute and a half. That's all you get.
And it's also too late because it's the end of the album.
It is.
But, because I remember too, like I was almost like ready to take off my headphones early too when I was listening to it. It's just like I'm not missing much. And as I do that, then I hear this like frantic play. I was like, okay, what are you doing? And then I sat there for a minute listening. And I'm just like,
okay,
I didn't miss much.
And now it's gone. Yeah,
it went fast, but it's. I'm not suddenly excited about it. I'm just like, okay, like they knew I was about to take the headphones off, and they're just like, no, please wait, please. Check this out. Double the pace. And I'm just like, no. How about double the time that it takes to end the song because I'm gone?
So I do have a couple other things. I don't know if I have a feeling that you have a retort for most of them. Now, right from the start, I did find it less engaging than some of the others, which clearly your face agrees.
My reviews have agreed.
This is definitely a song you would stretch out to 20 minutes with a self-indulgent jam right before the last chorus.
I would leave to catch the bus early.
Okay. Should have ended at 2 minutes 30.
Correct.
The song went and then it kind of dipped down quietly and then started up, and it dipped down quietly twice within this song. I would have just liked it if it was just like a short dip it down, maybe bring it back. I don't know. I liked the end, but I also liked if it would have just ended. So I don't really know where the compromise is.
I also would have liked it if it just ended.
I guess the compromise is what we got. Now, okay, so after the 4 minutes when it starts to pick up, I mentioned it was a little more engaging now, although it doesn't last too long, as there is only a minute and a half left once it gets good. And I did
it gets good.
And I like how this song sounds next to the first track as the album starts over, how this song ends and then the album restarts. There is just something about having those two together I liked, which completely kind of negates my whole, hey, this feels like end of album vibes, because it kind of sounded good going into the first track. So really it could have been placed anywhere.
Fucking loops back on itself. It's the worst Southern sandwich I've ever had in my life. This is brisket that's like 2 weeks past its date.
It's really funny because I was going to mention something about brisket, and I was like, maybe that's the only like Southern food we can think of.
When it comes to like Southern barbecue, like, because you could say like steak or whatever, sausage, chicken, like that's all typical shit. But like brisket, I don't hear that often around where I am and like people who I know. So brisket to me is like a very Southern thing, you know?
Barbecue, corned beef. That's it. Nothing else. That's really all you do with brisket.
Cool. And I haven't done that corned beef part.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm missing much because American cuisine, not so good. Just gonna say, sorry, Americans listening. Don't mean to pick on your food, but it's very salty and sugary, and I'm diabetic, and no, thank you.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff in the South is deep fried just to kind of keep the ovens off in hot climates. But you're really trading one bad thing for a bad thing. So.
Oh yeah.
So good.
All right, now that we're done picking on Americans, we have reached the end of the Black Crowes album Shake Your Moneymaker. So thank you very much for making it this far along with us. If you indeed have, assuming that you've listened to the album, let us know what you think of the album down in the comments below wherever you're listening, because there's comment sections everywhere. We are curious to know. We want you to be part of this discourse. It's not just us talking. We talk way too much. It's your turn, so go ahead and do that. And you can also tell us a lot more because, psych, we're not done talking. There's more things to do. Moving on to part 2, we now have to rank the songs, as we said, kind of hinted at in the beginning. So above our heads, boom, graphics have changed. There are names, there are numbers. There's going to be more names, song names to be specific, because now we rank the songs 10 to 1, or I guess 20 to 1, depending on how you look at it. Worst to best, least favorite to favorite, however you want to look at it. That's what we have to do now, and you can do it too. So once again, one of those things down in the comments below. Let us know how you would rank the songs. Fun stuff. And Savannah sips a drink, and I'm going to leave this part in.
I'm taking a drink because it's not that I'm just popping up the cup for no reason whatsoever.
I don't say to buy our merch at ratetherecord.ca until after we're done talking about the album, okay?
Oh, so you don't mention that we buy the merch at ratetherecord.ca till the end?
No, and I also don't mention that there's like shirts, sweaters, other mugs, the B tier list, different variation of the logos. Well, I don't mention that until later.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. But that was ratetherecord.ca, right?
Yes, ratetherecord.ca, not .com, .ca, because we're Canadian. Have to support Canadian, right?
Sounds good to me.
Definitely don't want to tell people it's on the link in the description below because I have to get them to rank songs with us now because that's what we have to do. This week's a 0.
Oh yeah.
We've been too lucky. We had 5 for Foo Fighters. We had 2 for Queens of the Stone Age. We're back to 0 this week.
Okay, so my thought is that you didn't like this album. So, I was going to venture a guess, but I think now you don't have to. I'm not even going to look at your face while I say.
I'm not even
this.
looking at the camera.
Excellent. I think we're going to get. I don't know. I want to say we're going to get 1. I think we're going to get our number 1s matched.
Maybe. I'm not even confident on that.
Yeah, I feel like we might. And I say might, but I feel like you only have a small handful of songs to choose from. And I imagine they're one of the ones I picked. So I'm going to say that we match number 1s. But if we match somewhere else, what I said doesn't count. It only has to be number 1.
I'll say my top 5 were scored pretty decently because, especially the top 3, I'll say, or even top 4 if you want to stretch it out that much. That really saved the score. I'll tell you that much.
My score is higher than I thought it would be.
So was mine.
Solely because of the songs that I really liked.
Well, let's surprise each other today, and let's start with the song ranking. So, song number 10. Could I've been so blind? God damn it.
You've been so blind. Strutting Blues for my 10.
There you go. God, I obviously didn't care for it so much that I didn't even need to pronounce it properly. Kris needs to stop drinking. I'm not drunk, idiots. Song number 9, Seeing Things. Apparently I am like pink elephants in my room.
That is a match.
Oh, we actually got one? Are you serious? Wow. That song wasn't that good, eh? Cool.
I know.
Song number 8, Strutting Blues.
Number 8, Stare It Cold.
See, even though I had that giant bad thing to say with the whole Leonard Skinner thing, it still was the last song on the list.
Yeah. Honest criticism.
It wasn't even criticism, but just the thing. That was my imagery. We do that every once in a while. My imagery was leaning at the truck like a hick and yelling at a city boy. So, song number 7, Jealous Again.
Number 7, Could I've Been So Blind?
Could I?
Really bottom loading this list here.
Number 6, Stare It Cold.
Number 6, Sister Luck.
Thankfully, I'm not the only one screwing up the words here.
Yeah, I have like 12 more teeth in my mouth than I should.
Wow, it looks like the singles are in the top half, huh?
It
Crazy
does.
Shit. And to kick it off, song number 5, Hard to Handle.
Number 5, Thick and Thin.
Number 4, Sister Luck.
Number 4, Twice as Hard.
Another single. I think we're only going to get that one then, because number 3, Twice as Hard.
Number 3, Jealous Again.
Jealous Again? Song number 2, the one that won't match, She Talks to Angels.
I hate you so much. Number 2, Hard to Handle.
Close,
well, we matched one, so whatever.
Yes.
Fine.
Because my number 1 is Thick and Thin.
Interesting. She Talks to Angels.
Yeah, because when you said you're probably going to match number 1s, I was just like, I doubt it.
Yeah. The X on my sheet says we won't.
But hey, we got one I must be seeing things. We got a match this week. Oh, there's my stupid pun for the day.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Well, that's our song rankings. So now we got one more thing to do. We need an album rating. Where is this thing going? Apparently, we both shocked ourselves with our scores. So I'm going to be shocked to find out that this is a B tier album or something. Let's find out. Swoosh. Here we are, the album rating screen. Alrighty then. Plenty to look at here, including last week's episode 2, Queens of the Stone Age with Era Vulgaris. Savannah was so happy about her number 7 spot, now pushed down to number 8. Hey, you still have 2 in the top 10, though. Michael Jackson's on his way out.
I'm so upset. We on the way out. It's like you hired some big security cronies to just push the album out of the list.
Give him the old hee-hee as you push him out the door.
Yeah.
Anyone.
I'm just imagining pushing the physical album out and the album's heeing.
You just hear it echoing from somewhere inside the vinyl sleeve. Alrighty then, so we got to find out where the Black Crowes are going with their money. Their album "Shake Your Money Maker," as chosen by Savannah this week. So, as mentioned just a moment ago, we've seemingly surprised ourselves with the score. So I'll start with mine, and I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna dance around this too much, but I'll say when you showed your concert ticket there for the Black Crowes, it was 76.50, close 75.50 for my score.
Interesting, and I'm very glad.
Sorry, I was just going to tie into that. Like, as I was shocked by mine, because when I was listening to this thing, I was just like, "There's no way that this goes above 70." But then, like, again, the top 4 tracks like scored pretty decently, so that saved this a lot.
Now, to answer do we have another B tier album? Yes, we do. Mine is 82.7, and I have nothing to say other than I wrote WTF next to it.
82.7.
I didn't hate any of the songs, but the songs that I liked, I really liked. But when I added it all up, all that came in my head was, what the fuck? Really? But we still have a B tier.
What are you, Krang?
Yeah, right. My ear's broken.
I'm not even Entertainment Weekly because I didn't B plus it. I straight B tiered it. But we must be Entertainment Weekly because we did indeed B plus it with a 79.10.
Dang, 79.10. That lies better than Mets, not as good as Arctic Monkeys, and it saves my my A tier song or A tier albums once again.
That wasn't even gonna be close anyways, but it beat Mets. That makes me fucking sick to my stomach. I'm taking 4 points off my score.
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine.
That just pushes down to like a middle B tier. No, we'll keep it at 79.10. That's fine. It's fair. I'm a fair man, I think. Hey, you know what? I gave Tripping Daisy another chance. They went higher. That's called fair. That's beyond fair, actually.
That is true, and that is very, very close album to my heart. So I thank you for adding that 1%.
Alrighty then. Well, who could have guessed a B tier album? I mean, to be fair, the last 2 episodes were A tiers. So I mean, Jesus Christ, your camera's exploding over there.
I know. I kind of fixed it as long as I don't speak with my hands.
Yeah, video viewers have noticed Savannah getting like disappearing more and more. She's turning into a Black Crow. Funny joke. Oh my goodness. You picked the album, okay? Fuck you.
Just go on with the outro, please.
Yeah, I suppose and so. I want to get out of this just as much as you do. So, hey, this is the end of the episode. Thank you very much for joining us. So, once again, make sure you let us know what you thought about the album. How'd you rank the songs? How'd you rate the album? Do you agree or disagree with us? What's your own opinion? Let us know down in the comments below, wherever you're listening, because there's comments everywhere. You can let us know on our social medias too. You can find that at ratetherecord.ca. All of our social medias, all of our streaming links, our merch that you can buy that Savannah showed off earlier with her mug, and my t-shirt I've worn occasionally on the podcast, and the RTR Club, request albums. There's a lot to do at ratetherecord.ca, so make sure you're checking that out. Make sure you're also liking this this podcast wherever you're listening to it, YouTube, any of the audio platforms. Make sure you're following all that kind of stuff. It really helps, and we want more people like you in here, so please go ahead and do that. It's free to do.
Yeah, please. We need friends and comments and people to interact with. And that's why I gave my Instagram handle, Threads handle, Savannah is missing, because I'd like to
what, is
interact.
that your also your Instagram handle? Oh no, now you might get followed in 2 places.
It is. That's fine. That's fine. Just don't send me weird messages like most of the ones I get. Please, it's weird. I had somebody message me and ask me, like pretty much presenting them to be my sugar daddy.
Oh, because I was gonna say, was it like an unsolicited D picture? But that's kind of close. That's like in the umbrella, you know. That some guy is like, "Oh, don't worry, baby, I got you paid for. You're good."
Yeah, and then I didn't read it because it came into one of those like I have to approve it for them to know that I read it.
Send me a cash advance, and then I'll be your sugar daddy.
Well, like I'm looking at it, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna let this stew a little. And I think about a week later they had unsent it, so it had disappeared. And I was like, ooh, putting those feelers out there. Okay, weird. So really, just to wrap this up, you can follow me on Instagram or Threads. Just don't send me messages.
Yeah, don't talk to us. Just follow us.
Don't talk to me. That's it. Yeah.
But if you also like us enough to give us money, you can do that too, because we also do like money. Ko-fi.com/rate the record. To join the RTR Club, $5 a month. I already mentioned it earlier. I mean, that the fact that there was an RTR Club, but $5 a month will get you bonus content, early access stuff. We'll review your band's music, give you a shout out, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, go ahead, Ko-fi.com/rate the record if any of that sounds interesting to you. But yes, we are at the end of the episode, so we can finish this, wrap this up. So once again, thank you very much for joining us this week. I can finally start to speak properly after I'm off camera. It's only bad when I'm on camera. When I'm off, I'm fine. But maybe it's because I'm focusing too much on saying words.
Probably. Or you're looking at me going, "Oh no, she makes me nervous. She is so cool and handsome."
You're a handsome lad, Savannah.
I am a strapping young lad. Thank you.
Hey, I saw that man last week, okay? That was pretty badass.
Yeah, and I got sick and couldn't go.
LOL. You missed a hell of a show. Devin Townsend only. Fuck Dream Theater. But before we let you go, we do like to give you a little sneak preview of what to expect next week. Don't worry, things will get better next week. I chose the album. That's my preview for next week. No. So my little teaser that I have, it's a Canadian band who were considered indie darlings in the 2000s, and they are still seeing some decent success even to this day. I think they're just about to release a brand new album too.
Tegan and Sarah.
I mean, that wouldn't be wrong, would it?
They just released a new album, so that was incorrect.
I don't think they're still seeing success, though. I think they've dropped off the radar a little bit.
I'd say beyond their fan base, probably.
I couldn't even name you one Tegan and Sarah song. I know who they are, but I couldn't name you a single song.
It's probably how it is with me and the band we're doing next week. I know I've heard, but I wouldn't know what it's called. So
Same.
We'll see.
Same for Tegan and Sarah. So it's not Tegan and Sarah, but there's another Canadian indie darling band happening next week. Cool. So maybe try to figure that out. But until then, go listen to some awesome music. Hey, like the Black Crowes, if it's your kind of thing, it's definitely Savannah's thing. And we'll see you again real soon. So take care, friends.
Bye.